This sounds like a lot, right? It sounds like a lot. So burnout is not just, oh, I mentally need a break. I'm going to do self-care and go get my nails done for a day. Wrong-o. I mean, you totally can. Sounds fun, but that's not going to fix the issue. And to just say, oh, I just need to work on my stress levels. Yes, but that's not enough because by the time you reach burnout, there are issues all over the place. So how do we correct this? How do we deal with this? What do we do about this? Hey there, welcome to the Female Health Solution podcast, where we discuss women's health, hormones, and everything else in between. Join me as we dive into the tools that you need to live your healthiest life. What if burnout isn't just stress on your system, but it's actually linked to hormones overall? What if that were true? How would we deal with that? How do we know and how do we deal with that? We're going to dive into that today in the podcast. Welcome to the Female Health Solution podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Beth Westy, women's health and hormone expert. So let's talk about burnout overall. And what a lot of women experience is just this overwhelming fatigue that encompasses your brain and your body. By the time we usually get to burnout, we have taxed everything. This means that we can't physically function or mentally function like we used to, no matter how hard we try. And part of that is the reason is that we've noticed that something is wrong, something is off, we're not our normal selves, but we keep trying, we keep pushing. Now, along this path, this doesn't happen overnight, but along this path, what usually occurs is there are signs and signals that something's wrong. Something's a little off here. What do we do about this? How do we know? What do we do about this? What happens overall? Well, it's really difficult to identify this at the very beginning. Of course, it's easy to say, well, preventative is the best, right? Like, just don't get to that point. You don't say. So glad that you brought that up. Yes. But there are things that happen in our lives. There are schedules that we keep. There are things that just happen one right after the other where you just can't help it. It just is the way that it goes sometimes. So once you find yourself in this position, what do? Completely upend your entire life? Tap out of everything? Oh, work, not going to do that anymore. Oh, the family that I have to take care of, just kidding. I'm going to lay on the couch like a bump on the log, like I really feel like doing because I can't handle anything else. No, you still have to function. You still have to go to work and take care of people and everything else. We're just doing this from a place of complete depletion. What I see most commonly, which is not going to surprise you, on a Dutch report, a hormone report, when someone has gotten to complete burnout is their cortisol levels have tanked, their adrenal function has tanked. And I'm sure you're like, yeah, duh, that makes sense, right? Here's some other things that I see. Nutrient depletion, B vitamins. So part of that fatigue is that their body just doesn't have enough B vitamins. And B vitamins are super helpful for overall energy and getting through the day. Really low dopamine levels. Dopamine is so dang important because it is helpful not only for feeling joy and everything else, but for motivation. When people are like, I'm just not motivated, I'm having a hard time focusing mentally, I have some kind of brain fog, and then I see their dopamine being low, of course you're having a hard time feeling motivated and doing these things naturally, because the piece that helps you do that, you don't have because you're burned out. There's a huge connection between your dopamine and your adrenal function. So which I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, can it not though? If my adrenals come down, can't my dopamine kick into gear more so I'm more motivated? No, it's right. Your adrenal function comes down, your dopamine levels come down. So not only are you physically and mentally exhausted, you have no motivation to get things done. That contributes more to the burnout then because things pile up. You feel even more overwhelmed and have a hard time getting started. Great. Okay, even more good news. With that burnout comes a decrease in production of androgens. So your testosterone can be lower, which means that muscle repair rebuild is also going to be slower. And so a lot of gals will put on weight, feel squishy, sluggish, all these things, and then their libido goes down, your libido goes down, and you're like, oh, I just need to get to the gym and work out. You try and force yourself to start going to the gym to work out, but you're not even getting the same results as you used to because your testosterone isn't even there enough to help rebuild that muscle to say, oh, look at this muscle pop. There you are, buddy. Welcome back. And then you're motivated to keep going, right? No, you're not even having any of that. And then your cycle can become a problem. It can become more irregular, heavier, more PMS symptoms, mood swings, things like that, because the adrenal function also contributes to progesterone production. It can throw off ovulation, so the timing, and it can throw off the production overall. So that means that you're not having that progesterone to counterbalance estrogen, creating all those other issues. This sounds like a lot, right? It sounds like a lot. So burnout is not just, oh, I mentally need a break. I'm going to do self-care and go get my nails done for a day. Wrong-o. I mean, you totally can. Sounds fun, but that's not going to fix the issue. And to just say, oh, I just need to work on my stress levels. Yes, but that's not enough because by the time you reach burnout, there are issues all over the place. So how do we correct this? How do we deal with this? What do we do about this? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. We start with working on all of it. These are things that we work on in the Female Hormone Solution Program. We do a Dutch test. There's a Dutch test that we include in it, and we retest during this oftentimes because we want to make sure that you are progressing along this path. And then it's not just, oh, I'm feeling better, because when you get to this burnout place, you have pushed yourself so dang hard that it's really hard to connect mentally with who you are now. If that makes sense, it's really tough to have that brain body connection. So it's so important and essential that you are really deep diving into yourself, your hormones, having that reconnection with what you're actually going through. So we want to make sure we're checking your hormones thoroughly with a Dutch test, with a urine test, which is much more thorough than a blood test. Right? We will talk about gut function too, because of course, burnout can impact the bacteria produced in your gut, the enzymes produced, how your body functions gut-wise, leaky gut, all those things, SIBO, those are connected to burnout as well. Yay. And then, but that's where we start. We start with testing what your system is actually doing, then targeting those things specifically for you so that we can really work on all of it. Support your hormone production, support that lower testosterone, support that nutrient depletion as we work on getting your system functioning better, getting your adrenals functioning better. And again, it does take time. It takes time because that's how the human body functions. If you are in a place of depletion and burnout and you're trying to acquire shortcuts or think, oh, I'm just going to do this and this is going to happen really fast. I'm just going to, try and skirt around this, biohack this. That's not how human physiology works. And shortcuts aren't going to work the same because your body is not the same way. If somebody has a healthy functioning body and they want to biohack something or create a shortcut, that's fine. That is going to work totally differently because everything's working and functioning. But for you, it's just not going to work the same, right? Again, simplistic, visual of this would be a bicycle, right? A bicycle, you got wheels, spokes on the wheels, you got brakes and everything else. Everything has to be working for you to get on the bike and go for a ride. You got to have air in the tires. The spokes have to be all the same length. The brakes can't be stuck on. The gears have to work, right? The chain has to be in the gears correctly. But if you have, oh, it's just a little problem with this. Oh, it's just a little problem with the brakes. The brakes don't work right away until you squish really, really, really hard, and then the brakes start to work. That's a problem. The tires are only a little bit flat. Most of the spokes are the same length. One of the spokes is really off though, but that's okay. The rest of them are fine. And then the chain, well, most of the links on the chain are okay, but there's still one of the links that's off. Are you going to want to get on that bike and go for a ride? No. Or is it going to be a good ride? No. Is it going to be really tough and make extra work for you? Yes. To go the same distance? Yes. So instead of just getting on and trying to force your system to take a shortcut or something, we're going to stop, we're going to get off the bike, and we are going to work on fixing the bike. Let's get it working better. That way, when you try all these things and do all these things, your system is actually working how it should. It makes all the difference in the world when you're going through this process. A few really important things too is that you cannot be nutrient depleted when you go through this. It won't work. It won't work. Time and time again, I see gals think, oh, all this stuff physically is going on with me. And then I've also gained some weight. So I still want to lose weight, but I'm trying to eat less. You're digging yourself more in a hole. That's why in the program we go through protein pacing. We get plenty of nutrients in, a variety, tons of minerals, all that stuff to replenish your system. That is so vitally important, where again, you can't out supplement that type of thing. You have to get those nutrients in. So these are all things that we work on individually with people. We create your customized plan for you specifically. Your plan is going to look completely different than somebody else's, depending on what you need to focus on. That is why we have such an amazing success rate when we go through and work on these things. Whether or not somebody says, yeah, I've been burned out for 6 months versus 3 years, let's see what your body is doing. Let's see how we can support your system specifically and move forward from that tough spot that you're in. We do the Dutch testing. We look at your specifics. We create that customized recommendation sheet for you. And then we dive into supporting your body nutritionally. We work with you throughout this entire process to make sure that you're getting the right results, you're feeling the changes, you're noticing the difference, and we retest to make sure that your system is responding the way that you expect, the way that we expect. That is how we make so many amazing changes with this. And that way you're not stuck here. That way you're not stuck, wondering if you're going to go through this again. That way 6 months from now, you're not thinking, gosh, I got better for a little bit, but dang, now it's starting to get bad again. What do I do? Oh, it improved. This part improved, but this part didn't. Nope. We're going to work on all of it. The rising tide lifts all boats. We're going to work on lifting that tide up for you. So that's what we do in this program. Make sure you're on the wait list. Make sure you click that link, sign up for the wait list. You're going to learn a ton more information about what the program is and how it can serve you. If you have questions, though, don't hesitate to reach out. If you're thinking, gosh, what about this piece? Or how do I navigate this? If you're thinking, gosh, I got this weird thing going on for me. I wonder if this is okay. Ask. There's a ton of different unique situations, and we always have a way for you to navigate around it and help you through it. Again, the right way, so your body functions the way that it should. And we look at all these different systems. I was listening to a book written by an MD, and she was talking about, oh, I've been specializing in these things and for years in my practice. And now I've realized that everything is connected. And when the body is inflamed and nothing can get better and stay better. And I was like, yeah, welcome to functional medicine. This is what the rest of us have been doing from a holistic standpoint for decades. But I'm so glad that you're finally getting on board with this. That the burnout, that piece of it too, is the same thing. It has such a big negative impact on your body. It's not normal to have. It's not in your head. It's not normal to continue to put up with it. And you're not weak for feeling exhausted. You're not a wimp that just needs to push through it. There's nothing wrong with you. You have been through a lot, and your body is having a normal response to what has happened to you and around you. But it is your responsibility to take the next step forward. That's where it can get really tough and tricky because you're unsure of what to do and where to start. This is where, again, I've got a ton of information on the wait list. I've got a ton of information on my social media, but this is where, again, I encourage you to reach out to me. If you have questions, if you have concerns, do not sit on them. My favorite thing is to really hear from women where they have gone through this process and they realize, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I feel completely different. And I'm on the other side of this now. And I'm so glad I know how to work with my body moving forward. That's what you're going to gain here. The knowledge of how to work with your system so that it's not going to hold you back in the future. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Let me know again if you have any other questions, if you need any other guidance on anything. And don't hesitate to share this with anyone that you know that could really use this message. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. If you would like more information, just head on over to drbethwesty.com for all the show notes and information from today's episode. And if you're looking for more community, more support, you can find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and I would love to see you there.